This is absolutely brutal as the Phoenix Suns once again give us some bright light in that first half in this game versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the kryptonite comes back to bite us in the third quarter as they go cold. The Oklahoma City Thunder take control of this game as the Suns lose a heartbreaking loss here tonight. And amongst all the trade rumors, amongst everything going on, this team, fortunately, was just looking a little bit dysfunctional. And unfortunately for this team as well, we did see some injuries come through with some players, and it's just not looking great. Suns fans are very, very disappointed after the Jimmy Butler trade not going through and with this disappointing loss. We'll be breaking down everything and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez with my co-host Curtis. And Curtis, fortunately, was disappointing tonight. What you got to say, man?
Very, very disappointing. One thing that I do have to say is remember, guys, the Suns Digest, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're new or old with the channel, just make sure you show that support and be here with me and Bruce on the daily for daily updates. Secondary, man, look, there's two sides of this that you can look at. It's yeah, we had a bad performance, but how good did we assume it was going to be going up against the Thunder, which is arguably one of the front runners for a chip this year? You know what I mean? It was it's a rough one, but I mean, it just I think this is just a point where we take a development story and see where we actually stand after that good hot streak we just went on.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great evaluation. And like Curtis said, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Curtis and I will be live tomorrow following the trade deadline mess, 6 p.m. Pacific time, or 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific, excuse me. We'll be live breaking everything down with the trade deadline. And we're looking at this Phoenix Suns team. And let us know if you think they'll make any moves. Without further ado, Curtis, let's dive into it. As we see the Phoenix Suns unfortunately losing a tough performance after displaying some great performances here in the first half. Unfortunately, no Kevin Durant here tonight as he turns his ankle, but we do see the Suns fall short 140 to 109. And like I mentioned, in the first half, we did see some good performances. We saw Devin Booker and Bradley Beal really being aggressive going downhill. Bradley Beal finished the night with 25 points here. Devin Booker, not the greatest shooting night. Bodenholzer had some questionable roster moves with no Kevin Durant, decided to go with Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards, Tyus Grayson, and Booker, which I guess isn't the greatest here. As we see, obviously, it's just not looking good. Royce O'Neal played very, very solid, but Tyus just not working in with this starting lineup. Cooch Bodenholzer still going with it, and a lot of Suns fans really questioning why they are still holding this promise to start him in this lineup. Ryan Dunn saw 11 minutes tonight as well. He did not get any early involvement early on, and he also did not have the greatest entrance as well as he suffered an injury alongside Bradley Beal. And Curtis, if we want to look at that here, we can see from Joanne Rankin that Mike Budenholzer said that Ryan Dunn hurt his ankle late in the game, and Bradley Beal has bumps and bruises that come with the season. And Devin Booker seems fine, as he also went knee to knee with the player in the first half. And I really did forget about that knee to knee contusion. But like I mentioned, Thunder came out in the third quarter, absolutely ruined this Suns team. Went on a 20-2 run, I believe, to start off the third quarter. How do you allow that to happen as the Phoenix Suns, man? Just defensively, not everything's there. With the trade rumors being gone, with Butler being traded, you would think that the clouded mess would fade away from this Suns team. No, nothing ruining their squad, nothing ruining their momentum. But of course, they run into a tough team in Oklahoma City, and then there still needs to be moves, Curtis. We need to see something happen tomorrow, regardless of the reports. Even if it isn't Bradley Beal, even if it isn't Kevin Durant, something needs to change around the edges, man.
Something needs to be done. One thing that we could take a look at here, though, is the. I feel like a lot of fans know that this is the thought process, and this actually is scary to know, right? We don't even have to look at the stat line for this because all I was going to bring up is Kevin Durant, right? If this is showing two things, this is very telling. If Tyus Jones cannot operate the offense and get more than 3 assists, something has got to be done with his rotation of minutes. And then the other portion is without Kevin Durant out there, he is the facilitator. He is the we need a bucket. He goes and gets it. He is the relief of pressure for Booker. If he's not on the floor, we're not even a team. It looks like, right? Whereas you look at other teams. I mean, I'll use last year with my man's from Memphis, high flyer. He when he was out for a bit, they they performed without him, right? I feel like a lot of teams do such. Whenever the star is gone, the team is still cohesive and they can still hoop. They just don't have that star power. We fell to shambles. We fell to shambles, and that's just to say that we have a big three and they couldn't play any better than this tonight. And Tyus Jones is getting 29 minutes and coming away with 3 assists and barely any buckets. I mean, if this is what we're gonna be without Kevin Durant, I mean, I've been harping on the fact that we should maybe look for a deal to wheel and deal Kevin Durant. But if this is what we are, then heck no, we have to have him. That's insanity to watch what we did tonight, even though it's still against the big name Thunder, right? But it's just unacceptable, to be honest.
Well, you bring up a lot of good points. I think the first point is that you can't trade Kevin Durant. I think that obviously with what we're seeing right now, this team needs him. It needs Devin Booker. Regardless of what you feel, you do not want to go into a rebuild, trading both of those players, having being stuck with just Bradley Beal and being the Wizards with old Bradley Beal. That is not what you want to be as a Suns team. I'm telling you, Suns fans, right now, that is not what you want. So you need to keep both of them. That is 100% for sure. The Suns need to look and make some marginal moves. Nurkic making $18 million. You need to move him. Possibly Grayson Allen. You brought up Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones cannot be starting on this team. I don't care if you promise him being a starting point guard. He is not a starting point guard. He's going up against Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And you're getting blown out by the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're losing in back-to-back performances to the Portland Trailblazers. You're losing in overtime to the Portland Trailblazers. You cannot be doing this as an organization trying to sell to your fan base that you are trying to compete. So my ultimate solution for this Suns team at this very moment, Curtis, is this is what I've kind of talked to you about, is you need to move Nurkic, Grayson, Tyus, move Bull, move all the guys you're not going to play. Get all these guys out of here, right? And let's try to get at least to shed some salary. I don't care what we get back. Mini punt this season, but at least show you're at least getting some comparable pieces back. Look for a Larry Nance. Look for an Obi Toppin. Look for a Bobby Portis. Look for anybody that Kelly Olynyk, Chris Boucher, anybody that can help you out and help you develop off of getting rid of Yusuf Nurkic's contract, right? Anybody that can help you out, right? If Beal's going to still be on this roster, you can't have Grayson Allen as more shooting. You got to trade Grayson Allen, got to get more wing depth, got to give them at least some comparable stuff. And then going into next season, you look at Bradley Beal's contract, you look at Kevin Durant, and you promise him you're going to extend him, you're going to keep this team together, and you have the whole offseason to try to move off Bradley Beal. I'm telling you right now, if you have a whole offseason to get rid of Bradley Beal with a year gone off of his contract, $50 million that a team does not have to pay. Obviously, with more incentivized draft capital from this Phoenix Suns team as well, from trading some of these guys this season, you will be able to get off this Bradley Beal contract and you will at least be able to retool around these guys, even if it isn't the best value getting back.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We get a lot of guff from some of the viewers out there. It's not all. We have some guys that agree with us, but some of them out there like to harp on us when we say that we need to get rid of Grayson Allen. But let me say this, guys. We have we have three volume shooters on our team. We have three volume shooters. It's okay to let go of your one sharpshooter when he's not bringing anything else to the table. He's not getting assists. He's not getting rebounds. He's not playing defense. I mean, he's hustling. Don't get me wrong. Grayson's not a bad player, but we need more than that. We need a 3 and D guy, right? If he's not getting shots off, at least we know he's being productive on the defensive end. That would change up lineups. Like when we do go up against Shea, we could throw him out there and he could defend Shea. And then we won't have to worry about him getting buckets because on the other end, we didn't have Beal or Booker having to guard such a prolific scorer, and now they're not getting gas on the defense, and now they can get buckets. We need defense. Obviously, that's one of the biggest reasons why we're losing games, and we need another big that can really get some time down there in the paint. If we're not going to play Nurkic, Nurkic has to move. It doesn't have to be Nurkic for a center. It could be Grayson for a center. It doesn't have to be Nurkic for a center. It could be Nurkic for another power forward. It could be Nurkic for another 3 and D guy. Right? There's moves that can be made, and at this point, there's no way that you sit here and you keep watching this team and you think that it's absurd to want to get rid of Grayson Allen. I think that Grayson, Tyus, and Nurkic are some of our most valuable pieces that we could get out there and try to get us something in return.
Exactly. And Tyus isn't going to come back next season. The Suns don't have the money to sign him. So at this point, if it's not working out, you try to get what you can best get off him. And I think you bring up a valid point with Grayson. It's not that he's a bad player. He's a great fit for this squad last year, but with how many guards this team has, with how many people need the ball in their hands to score the basket, you need something different. You just need a different look, a 3 and D wing, a rebounding guy, just somebody else. And with Nurkic just not playing, you can't have Mason Plumlee playing these minutes. That is not going to help you with this team. Bull is on this roster just sitting there doing nothing. There needs to be some sort of miniature moves, and there are going to be teams that are willing to make these minor moves. You can't tell me that there's not these teams. You can't tell me you can't call up the Portland Trailblazers and say, I know you have Duop Reith. He's your third, fourth string center. Let me
Yeah.
get him for Bol, and I'll throw in a second round pick. You're telling me you can't get that done? That's blasphemy. You're telling me you can't trade Tyus to get more stuff back for this team? That's blasphemy. This Suns team can make these minor moves around the edges and then eventually be able to give something to Kevin Durant, Devin Booker to try to compete, or even be able to, if you have Bradley Beal come off the bench this season, excuse me, with a retooled roster, maybe with fixing those defensive issues, maybe then you can still give some hope for the playoffs and for a play-in run at the second half of the season. Maybe you can spark something up to where maybe you don't have to trade Bradley Beal, or Bradley Beal builds up that trade value, so it's so much easier to trade Bradley Beal. There's so many things that go in the benefit of keeping Kevin Durant, and as long as he wants to stay in Phoenix, as long as he
Hmm.
wants to stay in Phoenix, there's no reason to eat. There's a reason to listen for the offers, because if you get blown away by getting offered a Luka Doncic type package, obviously take it. But if you're not, there's no way to panic and just sell him for nothing, or for something that could patch up some holes for 2 years to then ultimately force Booker to then want to leave.
Exactly, exactly, and that would be the worst case scenario. You, like you
Hundred
just said a
percent,
second ago,
hundred
we get
percent.
stuck with Bill, and we're just the old wizards. That's the worst case scenario. So you don't want to end up in any situation where Bill or Kevin Durant are unhappy. We got to make sure that we bring them the help. We've watched that this is not 90s basketball. When players don't get the help that they want, they will leave no matter how happy they are on that team. So we just got to get something done tomorrow. And if we do not get anything done, I need statements from the Suns, something letting us know what they're planning for the offseason, something. If we're just going to play the season out as is, we know that we're either just completely trying to tank it. But even at that point, if we're trying to tank it, what are we doing? We don't have picks like that. So it's like we can't even go that route. We have to try.
We
Yeah,
have
so
to we have to try. We can't take it. We don't have our first round pick. There is no reason to tank the season at all. And that's why I ultimately do think they will make these marginal moves. Like I said, even if it's not Bradley Beal off the team initially, I do think that some of these other guys will have to be compensated. Similar to like a guy like Josh Okogie for Nick Richards. Sometimes, unfortunately, it takes giving up something that is good to get something good in return. And unfortunately for the Suns, they don't really have a lot of good with their contracts. They have a lot of talent, but they with the contracts, it's just not really fitting. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode here on Suns Digest, where we broke down this brutal loss, unfortunately, with this team. Ryan Dunn hopefully will be okay from this ankle injury, but we'll have a lot more to break down for this Suns team as, like we said, news is going to be filing with the trade deadline coming in. It is less than 24 hours away, and if anything Suns happens or related comes through, we will have a video breaking it down for you guys. But once again, we'll be live on Thursday tomorrow breaking down this Suns team, breaking down everything as well. If you do miss the videos, once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. From Peace Out, from me and Curtis, we'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns.